We're live.
Good evening, everyone. Do I hear echo? Maybe that's just me for the first 2 seconds.
It might be me too, because I'm in this bigger space.
Open space. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our show. If you are live with us, please say hi and let us know where you're watching us from. We'll get started in a second here. Callie and I are just going to be sharing away, and then we will get on with our show. And let us know if you can hear us okay, too. We've been having some sound problems. If you can see us okay, because I always struggle with Wi-Fi. So if you guys, if I'm blurry, please let me know. I'll try to see if I need to kick the kids off the Wi-Fi or something. All right, we'll get started here in a sec. Hi, Yingy. Okay, almost ready here. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Lisa. We've been having some audio issues, and I'm always having visual issues because of my Wi-Fi. Sometimes when the connection is low, I get really blurry. So thank you for letting us know. I hope you guys are having an awesome Sunday evening. It's currently 7 p.m. where we are. So wherever you're watching us from, please say hi. Hi, Chai, Monk Hustler in the house. Thank you for always supporting Callie and I. We appreciate you. We have an awesome show for you guys tonight. So we hope that you guys will stay with us all the way through to the end. Engage, ask lots of questions. Callie and I were super excited when we were kind of talking offline with our guest today, just kind of learning more about her and the things that she's doing and some of the projects she's working on. And so we hope to share some of that with all of you today. So we hope that you engage with us throughout. And again, if you have questions, just make sure you pop it in and we'll try to get to it when we can. All right. I always know when Callie's ready when she looks up. So she's still looking down, which means we're not quite ready. So we'll get started in a sec here, the minute she looks up, right? While she's doing that, I do want to give a quick update that she and I will be in Minnesota this upcoming weekend for the Hmong Thai fashion show. So if you guys have not heard, I think it's Chat that's bringing and is sponsoring, some of the Hmong designers from Thailand, and they have a fashion show this upcoming Saturday. And so we've been sharing links to purchase tickets. And so we hope that you guys will all come out and support them, but also come out and support us as well. We will be emceeing the show. And so, we'll be having a lot of fun. So I hope you guys can come out and join us. But if you see us in Minnesota, also please come out and say hi. I'm not sure where we'll be Friday night, Saturday night, but wherever we are, if you see us, please make sure you come and say hi to us. All right, Callie, you good? Okay. So that's kind of all the updates I have. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. All right, then let's get the show on the road. Yeah, you want to introduce our guest, bring her on?
Yes. So we have on with us Porsha Chang, who is based out in Sacramento. And so she's actually an educator, which was really, really cool to just kind of get to know her background and what she does. I think that so many of us have our regular 9 to 5, but we still have all these like passion things that we do on the side, all because of the love of what we do. And so I think that was just really inspiring. And then we specifically wanted to have her on because she is working on the healing series. And what like a time for her to like really be telling these stories. I feel like vulnerability and like healing and like traumas and intergenerational traumas have been really put at the forefront, like with COVID and just everybody being stuck at home and really being with ourselves and thinking through things. And so I just feel like this was a great time for us to really bring her on to talk about these 4 stories that she has. And so definitely tune in, ask questions, and learn more about what she is working on. And so with that, I will bring her up.
Hi, Porsha.
Hi.
Hello. Hope everyone is doing fine tonight.
We are doing good. How are you? How are you feeling?
I am excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I feel like I just it's been a long time. I haven't been anywhere publicly
Yeah.
this way. So it's nice to just see everyone and be back. So thank you for having me.
Yeah. I think anytime you talk about yourself, it's always a little bit nervous. Like everyone gets a little bit nervous, right? Because you're not exactly quite sure what it is that you want to share or how you want to share it. But we appreciate you being here with us. Thank you so much for dedicating your time this evening to Callie and I. We learned so much about you in our offline conversation, both really inspired by a lot of the things that you shared. And, I think it's just really great when we have really strong Hmong sisters out there who are like leading by example. I think that's one of my favorite things, and I think I'm sure it's Callie's as well, of us doing the talk shows, that we do really get to meet really inspirational people that inspires us to not only continue working on our passion projects, but to continue doing the show, mainly because we get to meet such amazing individuals like yourself. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much. And I feel exactly the same, just having 2 very uh, passionate, but also uplifting Hmong sisters here,
Yeah.
providing this platform for other sisters and people in the community to, reach out, to have a voice and to just provide this outlet. So, thank you to the both of you.
Yeah, of course. All right. So, could you, before we kind of dive into talking a little bit more about the healing series and wanting to learn a little bit more about your production company, could you just provide us a little bit more background and information about yourself? Callie kind of shared a little bit already, but could you elaborate a little more on that?
Yeah. So, again, my name is Porsha. My birth name is Phoua. I think I earned that name around my college year for 2 reasons. One, I was always sick, and so spiritually, I was given that name by someone that. Um, really loved me, and so I kept that name since. And then I realized that it was hard for me to just have a safe space to really communicate how I felt, to be vulnerable. So when I started Porsha Production, it was really an outlet for me to be able to express these feelings in a way where it wasn't really about me, but to have this portal to really express those feelings and share it with that audience, the bigger audience. And just to express that feeling was a way for me to kind of channel how I felt in these stories. So that's how I started this production. And then it went on to actually being able to build that platform for other talented young folks to come on and share what they have and work with me and to really socialize and grow together. And so and to have a safe space to do that. And so that's where we started. It started original that we have this idea a long time ago. We've been doing work way before the production name actually became Porsha Production, because it's a rather new production name. It started in 2018, but we have been doing this work way before that. Yeah, I think you guys are muted.
So you do have we brought you on timing wise because of your healing series, and you do have 4 trailers that you showed, and I got to watch them through the GoFundMe. So if anyone is interested in accessing and just kind of getting to know a little bit about what each of the stories are, definitely go to the GoFundMe, and you can talk about where people might be able to see it too. But that was where I got to see it, and so what prompted you to start the healing series and why now?
Yeah, so I think a lot of things. It was a culmination of everything in my life. I think it took a lot for me to really decide to put this out there and to even have that title. I think, yeah, the healing series means 2 things for me. One, I think we're in a time where it's much needed. I think everyone is going through something. We all each have a journey and a story that is unique to us, but within that room of uniqueness, it's not. We're not all alone. It's all the same. So I wanted to my message to that is that through these shared stories, we can find hope, and that's the same thing we all can grasp and look forward to moving forward. So that's why I called it the healing series, through some of my own experiences and my own feelings that I'm pouring into it. And the second reason for that healing series started a long time ago, and I felt like growing up, it was always hard for me because I knew I was a little bit different. Being someone who's in, I'm a teacher, someone who teach science, for being growing up at a very young age, knowing that I'm an empath, knowing that I'm a clairvoyant. In the Hmong culture, they would say "Oning na ya," but that was always a vulnerable part of me, and it was hard for me to express what I feel, what I see on a daily, what I go through, what I can't eat. um Crazy encounters, right? Paranormal encounters where to other people it would just be, oh, she's haunted, or all these haunting activities. But it's more so, sometimes it's more transformational and uplifting than just seeing a ghost. There's messages, and a lot of it comes from, broken hearts, from things that can't move forward. And then I realized that in order for me to continue and acknowledge that I am one, because I ran away from this gift and called it a curse for the longest time. I want to finally acknowledge that gift and be able to take ownership of it and use it. But before I can do that, I want to be able to give myself the moment to acknowledge and to heal myself before I can start healing anyone else.
Thank you for that. Like, I feel like when we get to see other people's stories and you don't feel as alone, right? Like, I think that oftentimes, like, especially like if you feel like for me, it's like being a mom and like trying to do everything and being a boss, and then trying to and sometimes you see like on social media, it just feels like everyone has it together, and then you feel like, oh my gosh, like you don't have it together. And so that's just like my story. But I know that a lot of people also like might go through like, somebody passing away or like losing a loved one or like different things. And I just think that the more that we can be open and sharing our story, I feel like that humanizes us and makes us feel more connected, even though each of our situations might be a little bit more unique.
Absolutely.
Porsha, could you just share a little bit about like what is the healing series? I know Callie kind of talked a little bit about like a 4-part series, but can you elaborate a little bit more on what it actually is?
Yes. So the healing series, it's actually not a series of like maybe 10 or 20 parts that continuously happen, but it's 4 short films put together under the scope of healing. And it's 4 different stories that will eventually connect, and all of those stories will be put into one, and it will be produced out that way. So when you are in one sitting, you're watching it, you will, when you're watching the healing series, it will be all four short stories. And these short stories really touch based on, trauma, love, loss, and mental health, and overall just going through different struggles, but finding that hope at the end to heal, and healing at their own ways.
I love that. So it's not even like eat the whole story. Now, yeah, it's like 4 different perspectives of how people are healing, and then connected at the end, in some way, shape, or form. I think that that's very strong, because I think overall, Oli Aliputaka Hai, we're all connected. It's all different, but it's all the same at the same time, right? So thank you for diving into that a little bit deeper. So, in regards to the series in itself, how will people be able to watch this series, and when is it expected to be out?
Yes, so our first showing is yet to be determined, but we know that we will have our showing here in Sacramento through a theater release. So it will be a selected day sometime in either July or August. We are aiming for July, towards the end of July this summer, hoping that we can have our first showing in theaters, and then hoping we can migrate to Fresno, and then take it to Minnesota. But it will be selected days, and it will be coming out to chosen or selected theaters.
That is so exciting. Like, I think I just finished watching Beef on Netflix, and I think it's just so cool to be able to see like Asian, not that like I can't see it from like Korean dramas or like, other felt like other international movies, but I think it's really cool to see it like mainstream, like Netflix producing like a lot more Asian, shows and talking about topics that's really relatable. So I'm really excited to see like, you know, Hmong people, like again on like in acting and things like that. I know again we get like music videos and stuff like that, but it's really nice to see people that look like us, and especially in the theater. I just came back from watching Super Mario in theaters, and I always forget how like amazing the theater experience is, y'all. And like especially like if you sit with other people and you get to laugh together, you get to cry together, you get to like feel the emotions together, and that is just, I mean, we live in the Pacific Northwest, and I don't know if you'll make it out to us, but I
We'll
really
make
would.
it to you.
Yes, because
Yeah.
this would be a really cool experience to like be able to sit with people like me, experience, like watching experiences that I can relate to. So
Yeah. Is there going to be a red carpet event at all?
We will have a red carpet, but this one is going to be private for the cast members. I feel like it's been such a long time coming, and this time around we want it to be intimate for them, and perhaps maybe after this, if it's in demand, or if people want to, then we can definitely do one, because I know our first for Spirit Stone, when I did Sheng Li Ying, we did have a red carpet, and it was open for the public. So hoping, I want to feel out where the audience are at, and that's our goal. We would love to.
Okay.
yeah, that would be awesome. I know there's Kong Lor, whose face I recognize, and then Jia Yang, who I'm Facebook friends with. I have never met her, but I know there are two faces that are, in social media.
There's lots of faces on there. I think more than we expect, Kelly. I think I think we're just super excited. I think we'll kind of make it a priority once you've have the date figured out. If Kelly and I are both available, I think we would love to fly down and support. So yeah, we're excited for when you guys announce the date. That would be amazing.
Yes. And honestly, for some reason in the back of my head, I thought you guys were here locally. And I know you guys mentioned it where both of you were from last time, but for some reason I thought you guys lived here. And so I wanted to extend that invitation for two of you guys. come out for the private screening and just to give us that, shout out and, share how you feel. But we'll talk about that more later.
Yeah. People always think we're from wherever it is that they're from. It's so funny because people thought I was from Minnesota, and I'm like, I know I'm not there as quite often as Callie. So it's funny that people would think I'm from there because she actually has, her siblings are from there. So yeah, it's okay. We always get mistaken for being in places where there's a lot of Hmong people, but we are actually in areas where did you know Hmong don't kill you.
That's why we need this, right? That's
Yes.
so we can connect.
Mhm.
Yes.
No, but I think that says a lot about the two of you and the mission you guys have for this, because we all assume that when we live in a community that một tính sâu bên na như not easy but ni dung yi jo to pe or pe cho họ na ya. So that makes it like an assumption that nên nhóm Minnesota so nên papa of the or viong thiên no ma chống hi. That's why you guys have a group behind you guys. But the truth is, you guys are probably at different areas of across the world from us, and you guys have this mission to go about it, and so that's why we have this assumption, but that makes it that much more powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So let's go back to talking about your production company. So what inspired you to start? I mean, it's because it's not a small, easy feat, right? It wasn't, I'm sure it wasn't like you had nothing to do and you were just like, I just need something to pass the time. I'm sure you're very busy, as a teacher, as you said, a daughter, and all the other roles that you fulfill. What inspired you to want to start a production company?
Yeah, so I think for the longest time I was a little bit like embarrassed to even share with people what I want to start. We all wear multiple hats. We could be, a mom, a sister, a teacher, and then we have all these side gigs that we'd like to do. So I think for me, it took me a long time to kind of take ownership of that. But growing up, I've always had these crazy imagination, and a lot of them would stem from things I feel in my heart, things I feel from people passing, and messages that I received that I wasn't able to explain normally to people. So therefore, I think those were like kind of set in my heart for such a long time. And when I was able to, when it came coming, it tumbled down on me. It was really hard. And so when I came up with this idea, I think it would really just a diary for me, to just, instead of writing and transferring it out, and then through film, it just reach a lot more audiences and people that needs to be met, more than actually just writing in my diary. So that's how I decide to go about it and start this production. And I know that filming alone just wasn't it for me. And I think I call myself and consider myself a storyteller than a filmmaker. So I have these crazy stories that I put out there, and then the best way for people to see it is really visually, to have it visually presented to them, where it's just one click away and they can see it being what I feel and how what I see is illustrated through this visual. And that's how I came about with the Porsha Production, to produce these stories into cinematic visuals.
So what would you say like that you'd enjoy most about like directing or producing these visuals?
I think in nature, my parents always said I've been a very bossy girl, right? And so aside from being able to teach a bunch of students and tell them what I want them to do, I'm able to do that with how I feel and make people, go through these emotions that I go through, but to demonstrate out in acting, I feel like it's powerful for me, and I'm able to. It's like a bunch of hurt balloons that every time they're able to portray this emotion, even though I can't explain it, that balloon pops. And it pops. And so I know it's a funny way of putting it, but that's how I feel in my heart. And I was able to explain those. And so, yeah, so I think that that's one thing that I really enjoyed about being a director, doing what I do, is being able to kind of just put these emotions out there for the cast to portray, and then to deliver it and to make it relatable and believable to the audience, and then to finally see the end product of how it affects the audience, and that's where it goes full circle for me. And then from that unhealthy balloon, it blows another balloon into my heart, and I feel like it's fuller, it's warmer, it's not that hollow balloon that is just in that is weighing in my heart.
So speaking of like emotions and cast and stuff, I'm assuming that you do your own casting, and how do you go about selecting actors and actresses? Because I know that Kong is from North Carolina, and so location wise, it's not like it's the easiest, right? And like you are in California, where there are quite a bit of Hmong people, but you chose somebody. So how do you decide? Do you see a face and you're like, oh my gosh, like I want him in my film one day, or I want her in my film one day?
Mhm. Yeah, so I think, a lot of us are, everything comes out from our own pocket, and then we don't have I have a team, but we don't have like subcommittees that go out and this committee is interviewing this committee. We don't have that. And so I think one, budgeting. Two, how I do is I'll try to share for the longest time. I'm just afraid to kind of put my heart out there, and then the wrong people, not bad people, but people who don't share the same thing, when they actually come on board, and I feel like my mission gets lost and I'm unable to tap into them, and we're unable to connect, and so it falls, and that's what I'm always afraid of. So I tend to kind of just gravitate towards people that I know or have a sense of feeling that they may feel, or they may be walking in alignment of where I'm at in life. And so some of these people I kind of just know of, and I don't really know, but when I pinpoint a few people in my mind, then I do build my character on them. I build my character, and even though it's not them at all, I build my character around them in the terms of how they look, what I feel like they will sound like portraying this role, saying this line. So I kind of build off of that. So when they come into that character, it's easy for me to already say, okay, I've already built my puppet. It's easy for me to kind of say, okay, the hand goes here and it fits where I thought of it to be. So that's kind of how I do my casting calls. So I do reach out to people that I trust, people that I feel like will see eye to eye with me. And I usually tend to kind of front load my information to them and then talk to them about it and see if they see eye to eye. If it's not something they're comfortable, then I move on. And when I move on, I change my character again, small little things to fit. And so usually when I do these things, there's two things that I never put in until I'm done with my story, is giving them a name and giving me a title. Those are two things I never have in my story until the end. So except for this film. This film is the first film that I actually really given all my actors and actresses names. All my films before, they never have names, because I think the hope and message of it is that it could be anyone, and I want people to be able to wear it without actually being labeled a certain name. Not only is my feeling this way, not as my the only one who could be the victim or hurting. So for the longest time it's always been that way. But I think knowing that sometimes giving people name can also be powerful. So yes.
Oh, I love everything you just said. That's amazing. I think everybody has their own way of selecting their actors and actresses. And I know that at least from the folks that we've talked to, your way is actually very different. And I love that it is different, right? Because you have a certain individual in mind based on what you see, even though you don't really know them, but you reach out and you kind of start building that character around them, which I think is really interesting. So thank you for sharing. So what would you say is the hardest part about having a production company? What have been some of your challenges?
Yes, I think the hardest part is I am a very I like somebody call me Dory from Finding Nemo, because I tend to be very forgetful, but I think a lot of it is not forgetful. I think I'm very scattered. I'm a very OCD person that is very messy. So I have all these things that is wired in my mind that has to be a certain way. And so I think that is the hardest part. I can have a desk filled with like a million papers. And if one paper is shifted, I know something is off. And so I think that's the hardest, because I think that's also, it goes into the production as well. And so because I am aware of that, it helps me, and it also hurts me, because I'm always afraid that because of that I will offend people. So sometimes I will go out of my way and try to make things work for them, that even I feel like some of my mission or my storyline is shifted, just so the other person I feel may be comfortable with how my mind is wired. And then coming with that, I have a very strong personality. I think we all do in our own right. And I think for me, I think because these emotions are really important to me, I feel like it helps me heal that. Sometimes when it's being shifted or when people question it, it took me a long time to not be offended. It took me a long time to not put up a defense wall. And so the most challenging thing about it all is that holding on to your vision and um, being able to work with people with that vision, and meet them, but at the same time, without altering your vision so much or altering your person so much. And I've come across that so many times where, when I write these script, this character may not have anything to do and no intent at all for it to be anything. It may just be one word, and that one word may not be in the same value for someone else, and it may be offensive to someone else, that I have to change that. And sometimes every word that I put in there is crafted to fit the feeling that I'm putting out there, that I feel like sometimes I take offense to it. But then again, that's where I have to also see it and hear from these audience, because my purpose is to make sure that they also understand where I'm coming from. So I need to be able to hear them. And so that's something for the longest time of, letting go a little bit of that to meet them, to also being able to say, nope, I'm not going to change anymore, because then at the end it won't be mine and how I want it anymore. So that's been the most of the struggle, and in terms of this production.
Yeah, I guess like this is your baby, right? And nobody wants their baby to be called ugly. So it's like I can I can see where you can get defensive of just like, oh. So maybe you can talk us through your creative process, because it sounds like I mean, I would think you already have the stories, and then now you got these, you know, um, uh, these actors and actresses that you are, it sounds like you do work within who they are to, and try to incorporate who they are to into your stories. But maybe you can talk us through, like, from that first point of like, oh my gosh, like I need to get this story out, and then, all the way through production.
Yes. My motto is always, I work hard, but I play even harder. So when I use that to really drive me in my work, I have to, when it, I'm a jokester, so I joke a lot, and I'm very sarcastic, and I'm also plus scatter. So I'm very scatter. I can make all these jokes, and then I may forget about it, and so and that's where I have to. Sometimes I have a team. I have a manager who really sits there and help me regulate that. And so from starting point, the first person I reach out to is my manager, and that person, her name is Si Vang, is someone that I hold dear to me, because I know a lot of people, and she's one that I'm always fascinated about, but I'm also intimidated. Um, but because I found her to be, someone who can ground me and helps me a lot, and someone, being the oldest, to just have another mentor. And so I build that off, to have that trust. And then I move from there to now gathering my people to help me with casting. And through that, I always have to set my motto with them, that um, to set that tone with them, that where we want to have fun, the end product is going to be fun, but when we're in work, we are in work. um So I want to make that very clear. So when we actually go on set, we do have an MOU crafted for everyone, specifically just for them. And when we go on set, I usually don't allow anyone else, even their boyfriend, girlfriends, to be on set. It's just them. Unless otherwise stated or discussed with me. So that's usually how I do my work. And I don't want all the cast members to be there, only the people that we're going to shoot certain days. So it goes into a lot of organizing, and that's where I have a team to help me organize those things, being someone who's very scattered mind, to organize what's going to be shot today, with who is going to be there, with what kind of outfit they're going to wear, and then remembering that the scene is going to be also shot tomorrow, but they're wearing the same thing and it was dark. And so those small things, so the small little itty bitty things are the big things. We can shoot a great scene and then we realize tomorrow, oh, she was not wearing that earring, and we have to reshoot it. So those are things that plays in, we don't think about, and we say, oh, Beth, I'll shoot the movie, okay, just go do it. But those small little things come in play. And to also, one of the thing about production is everything is great, but let's be honest, at the end, if pneumonia involved, you have to communicate that clearly in the beginning. So, those are things where it needs to be crafted in the MOU. And so those are just things that, Google cannot have a hard time communicating people about that, because we assume that it's meant for something good, that everyone will think that it's good and will be okay. But everybody sat out. That not to say that let's pay, no, because out, and I want to honor that, and to make them feel seen, to know that no one is being so I think that's how we work a whole production team, and that's how from the beginning to the end, there's always going to have some communication and some transparencies in there.
So how long does it typically take you from like a thought down to an actual script that's ready to be produced and folks to like learn lines and act upon? How long does it usually take you?
I feel like I'm a person who never have a timeline, because every day when I go in there, it changes. I can always go back in there and say, oh, I don't like what I said here, I'm going to change it. So I have to have other people. I have to set my dates to shoot, and that's where I aim my writing. So sometimes a lot of my writing is short. It's shorter time, but my thinking process is always long. Sometimes I don't write, I think, and I can think for days and years. So therefore I have to set my timeline of, okay, I know I'm going to think forever and the story will always change. So I don't share these stories with people, because when I do, anyone saying anything can influence the change of my script. And so I want it to be very authentic to how I feel, and for me to have it laid out. I don't share it with anyone. And then finally, when I have a group given on, then I share it with my manager, and then I share it with the videographer. And sometimes they don't even know the whole story. And then even my cast don't. Sometimes they only know their part. And so but the shooting time, I like to think, I haven't been on that a lot of acting gigs with other directors, but I like to think that mine is probably some of the shortest time, because we're all working people, and I have this thing where I'm afraid that people lose interest, they burn out of fuel. So I shoot all my film in no more than a week. So one short, we do it. All my short has been blau nu, and the recent one has been we shot it in 2 days.
Wow.
Yes, so we cram everything, and so it's very, very intense. I make sure they know that we brief, then they get together, they act. We have lunch, we act, and then dinner. Okay, we call it done. So that's the timeline.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
And so 2 days ago, you guys finished the last part, and so you're in full post-production. What does that even mean?
Like with that event, you were already in post production, but finally we're done with the last one, and so in full, in our full post bloom full, production now, we are stitching everything together, seeing what makes sense. Making sure that all the colors are aligned, make sure that all the subtitles have the same language, making sure that all the audios are the same, and so all of that is coming to play with a whole new post-production group now. So relearning, resetting MOUs, resetting, understanding with this whole new group, mixed with our old group, to kind of facilitate the new timeline. So it almost is a reset of the project all over again, but it's the next phase.
So is it kind of like editing? Like
Yeah.
you guys are in editing phase? Okay.
Yep. We're in editing phase. Yep. Editing
And we're
phase. Just reaching out to people, music. So reaching out to artists, reaching out to DJs that can actually produce music, composer to compose original songs, writing MOUs for them, and those are where all post production comes in play. Is all the editing that's the not so fun part for me.
there's so much work now that I didn't even know about color grading and like you said, matching. I think when we did the Finding Love video things and working with the videographers, and there were just stuff that I was like, I didn't even know that this was such a thing. Like I thought, yeah, Jilly record, Jilly that, like I didn't realize there's all this other editing things that makes the process really tedious and but then really adds to like a beautiful film. And so with this, you have a current GoFundMe, and I'm sure a lot of people don't I mean, when you're talking about that, I'm a numbers girl, so all I'm thinking is like dollar sign, right? Like, yeah, 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 yeah. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about the GoFundMe, what the funds would go to, and the hopes and dreams of that GoFundMe.
Yes. So I think it took a lot for our production team to actually put out a GoFundMe. I think we spent more than $20,000 for this just from me. And I think I've exhausted all sorts of my credit card. I'm at the point, if I was married, I think my husband would probably kick me to the curb. Um, so I don't buy any Hmong clothes, any of those, because I'm saving for this project. I feel like I've just been so wearing all these clothes that are now so thin, but it's all for the past few years just been for this. And so it's been to the point where every little thing adds up. My team, I like to pride myself, my team, on one thing is that even though I will never let anyone go hungry. So we do have a full-blown team that is dedicated to just cooking and making sure that our members are fed, hydrated. That's the most important part, the least I can do for them. So those stack up. And bet you no, that's it. Bet you no McDonald's. Bet no okay. But I make sure that there's variety. Make sure that we check their allergies, what they cannot eat. If they're vegan, we make sure that we have that for them. So that is where we spend a lot of money on that. But now, because we're going to post production, the Nia for GoFundMe is going to go towards helping us travel if we are going to different areas, and it won't just be me alone. It will be my management team that will help make sure that people who are there to watch the video can have an easy, smooth flow into transition to and have a good time at ease. So that's where we are making sure that everyone can we can have that fun to secure place for us to stay should we all go, secure locations for us to showcase these film. So at the end, our hope is that we can do a community showing, but in order for us to reach that goal of community showing, we do have to secure some kind of financial standing so we can stand on our own 2 feet to even have that showing. So that's why we're doing this GoFundMe, and it's still going. We're gonna have it up all the way until our first actual showing dates, because the big plan to showcase each of the theaters. Not each of theater in the zoo is up to $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 to just secure a venue. And so it is very hard, and these things are I think the question of making a profit is not even in play for us. Not yet in this where we're at right now. We're not there yet, but I think my heart is in this area of, I know from the start that that's not where my heart is at, but I want to deliver this and reach as many people as I can. And so I want to be able to see if people, to see to hope that people trust me in this process and get to share, put that investment in this idea, so you can also, just see it through with me. And then at the end, I'm up for, I'll have my ears open. It's a learning process and a growing journey, and I want to share that. So that's why the GoFundMe is there, because I know that financially it will be very exhausting. And so anything, big or small, will be a help. For water bottles, could be just a help for a coffee for me on low days, because we're working after the cast. Now I'm going to post production. I'm sitting with my editor, and that goes into nights. And I work, but I'm after my 4 o'clock job. I'm here busting my bottom to edit now, and then I edit and I'm writing all the way until 2 and 3 in the morning, and do my homework for the next day, and we restart. So anything is greatly appreciated. It could just help me with a coffee run the next day.
Yeah, I think sometimes people forget how expensive things can be, right? Especially when you are producing like 4 mini series films. It can get very costly. So, I think if anybody can donate some money, please do. I think it's always really important to support folks in our community who are trying to pave the way for everyone else that follows. So Porsha is definitely someone who is trying to pave that way, and I think it's important that we support her. So call to action for everybody there, right? So if someone wanted to start a production company, what tips would you give them?
Stay true to your mission. Make sure you have a mission statement set out, and stay in that. Hold on to that mission statement, because along the way, when you meet people, when you start work, it will start to shift. Everything will affect it, but hold true to why you start that. And you're gonna go through some bumps, but if you hold true to that, then your mission will live through to see the end of that tunnel. So yes, do share, be able to, be open to criticism, but also remember why you started. So that's one thing I would always suggest people, is just hold on to your, everyone's going to have input. Or like your mission, there's going to be one who is not aligned to that, and that's okay. Work with the one that, so continue to hold on to that.
Love that. That is so true. And I think when you put yourself out there, like, there will always be people who, have opinions, but you're entitled. Like my son always says, I'm entitled to my opinion. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
So how do people connect with you?
Yeah, so I have a personal page and I have a Porsha Production page. Please reach out to me. I have my updates on Porsha Production. So it's just Porsha Production. It's Porsha, like Porsha and Production. You can find all my updates on there. My GoFundMe is also on there. You will see that updated there. My personal Facebook is Chang Pua. I also have a community page, and that was for I usually just put out things in the community that's happening on there. That is just Porsha Chang. So any of the Porsha or you will find me on there. I also have a YouTube page, but if you would like to have any communications with me, please reach out to me through Porsha Production Facebook, or reach out to me through email. It's also porshaproduction@gmail.com.
And then for any like aspiring actors or actresses, like, have you thought about what's next yet? Or you're kind of like, let me just get through the healing series first?
Really, I'm always very scattered, but I'm always open for anything. So, I'm the type where sometimes I like planning, but every small little things can help aid in that planning. So I the next day might even change based on what's thrown at me today. I think that's just part of life. So if for actors and actresses, if you see this and you would like to work with me, I'm a I have to take pride that I am a female director in the film industry, among female director, not just among female, just a female director in this, growing but very, very challenging and tough entertainment industry. I take pride in that. Our message here might be slightly different. The way we go about things might be a little bit different. So it's nice to boy and girls, men and women, please come join me. I'm always ready for new topics. And I do tackle very taboo topics sometimes. So if you want to take on this challenge with me, please send me your portfolio or your bio, or just wave hi to me and we will go from there.
I love it. And I'm assuming that goes for anyone else who just wants to be part of a production company. I think that there's so much value that each of us brings and so many talents. And whether it's like, I just want to dip my toe in, Porsha, put me in somewhere. I think that, I think building a team and getting people who can stand with you it really helps when you're going through those tough times where you feel like, oh, you said give up, Sue. And so thank you, Porsha, for, being with us today, for, putting forth out the healing series. We are super, super excited. And as Olivia said, we will try to make it out depending on timing. So we're going to watch out for those dates. If you're watching, you would like to support Porsha, she does have the open GoFundMe. And so please, anything helps. I always say, I think that really adds up. If all of us just helps with $25, like that really adds up, instead of feeling like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to contribute that much. And so definitely, please, we do need these stories. We do all need to heal together and to feel connected.
Yes. And can I just make another announcement? I know I have the donation, the GoFundMe, but we are also looking for producers and sponsors, and those I didn't have it listed. But if you would like to sponsor or help us produce this film, please reach out to me. We still have those available as well, and by doing so, you have some perks, and you will be the first one to have this private screening with the cast and crews. And that we have the date set for cast and crew in the private screening, and you can be part of that. It's on June 3rd. So if you would like to be the first one to see this and have a review and cry with us and laugh with us, then please be part. And I promise you will need tissue. We might even have to sell some tissues over there for everyone.
I love it. I do want to say that one of our viewers did post the GoFundMe link and the Porsha Production Facebook page. So if you are live with this and you see it, please make sure that you click on the links there to view the Facebook page, but also to donate as well for the GoFundMe.
Thank you so much.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for being on with us tonight. Super, super excited. There's so many great things happening in our community. And I think that as we continue to, grow and just educate and grow as a community together, that we can go really far and be able to shipa and do more than what we've done in the past. And so again, Olivia and I are going to be in Minnesota this weekend for the Hmong Thai Fashion Show. And so please definitely hit us up. Let us know. Come say hi. Again, we love being able to meet everyone. And so, of course, here at All That Talk, we believe that conversations drive change, and change starts with you. And with that, we will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye.